Ever wonder how to turn your passion into profit? Discover the secret sauce with Catalyst Gem. You won't want to miss this. I recently had the amazing opportunity to meet John Evans, a true pioneer in the world of higher education. With over 30 years of experience, John has helped bring over 20,000 international students to universities, boosting revenue by millions. His mission is all about creating opportunities for students across the globe. And the best part? John has built an incredible network of over 500 partners in more than 25 countries. Plus, he's all about using technology to make the admissions process smoother. But how did John figure out a way to tackle such a huge problem in education? Stay tuned because you won't want to miss what he has to share next. So let's jump into the heart of our conversation about Catalyst Gem and discover how it's shaking things up in higher education. Catalyst Gem is revolutionizing higher education by helping schools boost international enrollment at a time when domestic numbers are dropping. Founder John Evans identified gaps in support for institutions with limited resources. So he developed smart tech that speeds up applications and increases visa success rates by over 220%. The key? Focusing on early revenue and building strong relationships with clients. By connecting schools with international students efficiently, John is growing Catalyst GM rapidly, proving that understanding market needs and adapting technology can lead to success. Welcome to The Founder Show, the ultimate podcast for startups and visionaries. Today, we're super excited to welcome John Evans, the founder of Catalyst GM. Here at The Founder Show, we don't just share stories, we amplify them to our huge audience and over 100,000 subscribers. Whether you're starting out or aiming high, we're here to help you connect and grow. So let's get started. Hi, this is Vats from The Founder Show. Thanks for joining this podcast, and I'm so glad to have you here with me. How are you doing today?
Doing very well, thank you.
That's great to hear. Let's dive right in. What's the name of your startup, and what big problem are you aiming to solve?
The name of the company is Catalyst Gem. We work in the international higher education sector, and we're helping institutions optimize and scale their international enrollment at a time when domestic enrollment is in decline.
Catalyst Gem, that's a compelling name. So you're addressing a critical challenge in higher education by focusing on international enrollment. What inspired you to tackle this particular problem?
Well, it's a space that I've worked in for the past 30 years. I've helped grow and created companies to solve problems in this space. And really, it was as a result of when I left my last position during COVID, I recognized that there were lots of deficiencies for institutions with limited resources in the international education space. So I really wanted to focus on building the right technologies and services that would help institutions with small teams and small budgets really tackle these problems head on.
That's an incredible journey. 30 years of experience and then identifying a gap during such a challenging time like COVID. It's inspiring how you've turned that into a mission to empower institutions with limited resources. What was the first step you took to bring Catalyst Gem to life?
Well, interestingly, I started the company really as a marketplace for international students, and the goal was really to help international students navigate really one of the most important journeys of their lives as they look to invest in higher education, really to build the foundation for a better future. And we actually launched the platform. We had over 200 colleges and universities on the platform, offering over 20,000 programs. We had tens of thousands of international student users. But ultimately, we took the difficult but important decision to pivot the business. And we did that early because we felt that really we wanted to focus more on the institution and ultimately be able to, provide a scalable business model.
That's a bold move, starting as a marketplace for students and then pivoting to focus on institutions. It sounds like a tough decision, but one that aligned better with your long-term vision. What were the key factors that led you to make that pivot so early on?
That's a great question. Well, I think the first one was purely capital because ultimately we were launching the company really at a time where there was a lot of noise around, startups and raising capital, and my sector was no exception. But what we found was that with the original business model, it was really focused on getting paid by institutions at the end of the student journey, which could take up to 18 months to 2 years, depending on the student's planning and success in the process. So really, we recognize that we had to, as a technology-focused business, to create a revenue model that would be attractive and also provide economic stability. So we felt that the best way to accomplish that was really focusing on being able to provide the technology and services that the institution would be paying at the front end of the journey, not at the back end of the journey.
That makes perfect sense. Shifting to a model that ensures earlier revenue while still delivering value. It's a smart way to balance sustainability with impact. How did institutions respond to this new approach, and what was your first big breakthrough after the pivot?
Well, of course, what we found early was that everybody loved the concept and the product, but nobody wanted to be the first. So the first challenge was getting those initial adopters. And really, we'd created 3 kind of unique verticals to our business. One was helping client institutions really access international markets and connect with students that were looking to study in the US, so building all the different types of sales channels, whether it was agents, high schools, universities, marketing affiliates. The second part was offering the technology that really optimized that front end of the admissions process, because again, international students will be applying to many institutions. So really the kind of critical nature meant that the institutions that were able to process the applications faster were in the driving seat and able to issue their offers faster. And then the third part was really helping students navigate the F1 visa process, because ultimately if the student doesn't get their student visa, then everybody loses out. The institution loses out, the student loses out. So really through those 3 solutions, we were able to really offer options where a client could either adopt the entire solution or they could just adopt a part of that solution. So really, over the last 12 months since we pivoted, we've had multiple clients. Our most notable client for the F1 solution was a company called Empower Financing. They provide international student loans, but ultimately, if the student doesn't get the visa, they can't disperse the loan. So they were having particular challenges in particular markets. So again, they came to us really as a way of being able to help their students maximize their chances of success. And we were able to prove through our data for over 4,000 students who took our solution in 2024 that going through our training process increased their chances of visa success by over 220%. That's an important data point I need to get right.
Wow, a 220% increase in visa success rates, that is a game changer. It's clear that your 3-pronged approach is not only comprehensive, but also highly impactful. Empower Financing must have been thrilled with those results. How did achieving such a significant milestone shape your confidence and strategy moving forward?
Well, it's great. I mean, of course, it's one thing building a product and having confidence in the impact it can have, but it's another thing validating it with the market. So, of course, with all of our solutions, we've been able to really, obtained that validation over the last year. And of course, now we're excited because we want to get that out to the broader market. I mean, there's thousands of institutions in the U.S. that need international students more than ever. And of course, we're really excited that we can participate in that activity and have a positive impact at a time where they're really struggling to look for growth.
That's fantastic. It must be incredibly rewarding to see your solutions validated and making such a meaningful impact. With thousands of institutions needing this support, the potential for growth is huge. What's your strategy for scaling Catalyst Gem to reach more institutions and expand your impact?
Yes, so really this year was really the kind of the validation stage. I mean, getting the kind of early adopters and demonstrating the impact of our solutions. And really next year, the goal is to, of course, take that to a wider audience and increase the number of clients that we have and then continue to expand on the kind of impact that we're having on our industry. So again, of course, as many startup companies will face, I mean, capital is always a challenge. So again, we need to look for ways to kind of accelerate our available capital to grow and ultimately be able to really kind of make a bigger imprint on our industry in 2025 and beyond.
It sounds like you've laid a solid foundation, and 2025 is shaping up to be a pivotal year for scaling. Balancing growth with capital constraints is always tricky. Are you exploring funding options, or are you focusing on organic growth to fuel your expansion?
Well, when I first started the company, I think I set out a very clear goal that I wanted to build a scalable company, and capital was always part of that equation in terms of looking at institutional funding. And in our early stages, we participated in technology accelerators. We participated in startup conferences that we were very successful in. But really, the biggest risk that I learned was that it requires so much effort and it's such a distraction from the business that it really becomes a big risk to the kind of survival of the business. So once I really stopped that effort, focused back on really just making the business successful in its own right, then of course it meant that we made the progress that we needed rather than being in the 1% of companies that successfully raise money. So I think we're probably going to be more cautious about that moving forward. I think we're finding that just getting our product out there with the right clients and is a good way to build that kind of stability. And I think the thing I've learned is that raising capital will be much easier when you don't need it. So while I wouldn't raise out the possibility of raising capital in the next 12 months, it would only be with the right partner on the right terms. We're not necessarily looking at anybody who will invest in us now.
That's a wise approach, focusing on building a strong, self-sustaining business first. It's true that capital often comes easier when you're not desperate for it. Prioritizing the right partners and terms will definitely set you up for long-term success. As you look ahead, what's one piece of advice you'd give to other founders navigating similar challenges?
Well, I think the first thing is what I've alluded to in the last point, which is really, raising capital is a very intensive and a process and a real distraction. So, and the reality is, 99% of companies who are seeking to raise capital that way will fail. So really my advice is focus on building a sustainable business. And if you do that, then, investors will be much more interested because they will really see that A, you have the ability to build a business that's successful, and B, they will consider their level of risk is much lower.
That's excellent advice, focusing on sustainability and proving your business model before seeking investment. It's practical and grounded in real experience. As we wrap up, what's next for Catalyst Gem in 2025? And what's your ultimate vision for the company in the years to come?
Well, we're really excited about 2025. First of all, U.S. higher education, domestic enrollment is forecast to decline by about 15% next year. This is tied back to the demographics from the 2008 financial crisis. So we know that institutions are going to need help with international student recruitment more than ever. And of course, you look at the kind of metrics. I mean, everything points towards the fact that by the end of this decade, over 2 million international students could be studying in the U.S. So that's up from just over 1 million today. So there's plenty of opportunities for growth. There's plenty of institutions that that need the help in terms of the problems that we're solving. So we're just excited to continue to build out our client base, continue to improve upon what we're doing, and ultimately and importantly, help more students really navigate what will be a life-changing journey for them.
That's an inspiring vision, helping institutions adapt to a challenging landscape while empowering students on transformative journeys. With such a clear mission and growing demand, Catalyst Gem is poised to make a significant impact. Thank you so much for sharing your story and insights today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and I can't wait to see what you achieve next.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us today. Wishing you and Catalyst Gem continued success. Thanks for listening to The Founder Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a like and hit that subscribe button to stay updated on our latest episodes. If you're a startup founder and want to share your journey with us, head over to founder.show and sign up to be featured on the podcast. We can't wait to hear your story. Catch you next time.